Good afternoon, tubers. It is Easter afternoon. Spent the morning in church. Great service this morning. I am getting the garden ready for beans. We'll go over it again with the tiller, get it as fine and powdery as I can get it. Get a nice tilth, raise some mounds, and use my new seeder. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a little bit. I'm just about through with the tilling, and I'm getting ready to draw my rows. This is the square end of the garden here, so I'm gonna start it from here. When I till this, I've still got a little bit to till right here. You'll see the different color. I till it in low second gear, and I get about 2,500 RPMs to get that tiller really going, and the tractor is not moving very fast, so it powders it up pretty good. It's still a little bit wet, so it's not powdering it like I want it to, but if I don't get it in now, Monday it's going to rain. It's going to put me back down even, back even further, so gotta get her done. Kind of shady over here because it's hot out there in the sun, but I've got my two big spades on the back, and that is what is going to make my hills. I'm going to draw my rows with that. It's not quite the same as a row hipper, but it does the job, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going in a different direction this year. The sun is that way, and it runs east and west. So this is the east side of the garden, that's the west side of the garden, and I'm going to run my rows different this year. I'm going to run them this way. Last year I ran them long ways. I think I'll get more sun on each of the plants this way, since that's getting ready to put my rows in. I'm going to draw my rows, and I'm going to basically going to do a skip a row method. And the way I do that is I'll run my tractor down through there, won't drop the blades, and then I'll come back and put my left front tire in the track that was on my right tire, and then I'll drop my blade and draw my row, and I'll keep doing that all the way down, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, I've got my rows drawn. I'm gonna clean it up. That over there is gonna be for my corn. I'm gonna do that a little different over there. You can see how well it cleans up. Run the tiller between there, and the rows are a little more defined. They're not perfect. I don't think they would break a snake's back, as to borrow a phrase from a good friend of mine. But they are definitely raised rows, and I'll be putting beans in those. And I'll show you how I did it over here in just a second. You can see I've drawn my rows for my beans, and getting ready to sow some beans and put the drip tape down. Never used this drip tape before. In fact, I've never used any kind of drip tape before. I've used drip irrigation, but this is drip tape. It has the emitters in it. I'll show you that in just a minute. If anyone's interested in purchasing this stuff, I bought it from the same place where I buy my greenhouse film, and it's in Knoxville, Tennessee. I drove to Knoxville to get the film, but I just had them ship this. It was a lot cheaper to drive to get the film. It's so heavy. The shipping costs were outrageous, but for a roll of drip tape, it's not too bad. But anyway, I wanted to show you what this looked like. I ran the tractor down each row on each side of the raised row, so that it's easier to walk, and I found that it also keeps the weeds down if you kind of pack it down a little bit, if they do start coming back. And what I'll do is, if they do start coming back, I'll just run the tiller between them and cultivate that way. But anyway, I wanted to show you what this drip tape looks like and how I've set it up. I just pulled my truck up here, and that looks there to you. Let me get this fixed here. Let me show you here. This actually has emitters every 12 inches. Can you see that? There's an emitter right there, and there's a little hole. So every 12 inches there's one of those, and it'll allow 2.9 liters per hour. That's what these things do. So the issue is I need to make sure my bean plants are planted accordingly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the drip tape out and kind of plant near the drip tape. I'll probably use a seeder, and it'll drop more than I need, and I'll just have to move the plants because I know the birds are going to get their fair share of these seeds. They always do. So I try and get a little extra down on there anyway, so I can move them around, and once they start sprouting. But there you go. Or here we go. You can see that. By the way, this roll is 2,000 meters, and I get that roll for $90 plus tax and shipping. Can't forget the shipping. these days the shipping is almost as much as the product. Okay, tubers, you can see I had some of these that I started in the greenhouse. These are pinto beans. I planted them every 12 inches. And now I'm going to put the rest out as seed. Probably be about 2 rows. Well, 1.5 anyway. I'll see what kind of seed I have left after that. And we'll go from there. But I've dug myself a little furrow down the middle of the hill. And I'm going to put some compost down in that furrow. Then I'm going to come back with the seeder right here. Drop my seed, put a little compost back on top of it, and then we'll situate the drip tape. But I'll probably do that another day because it's going to rain tomorrow anyway. I'll water it in and let it rain, and I'll worry about this drip tape in a little bit, and we'll have it all set up to go probably sometime by the end of the week. Okay, tubers, I'm ready to put some seed down. You'll see I put that in that furrow on both sides, both rows. I've lined it with some composted horse manure and leaf mold mix, and I'm gonna lay these seeds down on top of it, and then I'm gonna cover it back up with some more of that compost. But this is the way this thing works. Had a tough time figuring it out. It's not the greatest seeder in the world by any means. Those little treads on the tires are supposed to cover up the seed with dirt. Not so much. And that thing that's right there, that's supposed to mark your next row. Don't even use it. I use it for a kickstand. I've got the bean disc in it. There's 6 discs that come with it. 2 different size bean discs. I've got the larger one in there. That's this right here. You gotta lock that into place. I found that out trying the last batch. There is a way to turn it and lock it into place. It just kind of slides over this wheel in the middle there. It's got little latch guides on that on the disc that you have to make sure it's snapped into place or it'll come out. Then you have a real mess because you'll end up throwing a whole bunch of extra seed down in there, and then you have to clean it up, or you got multiple plants growing everywhere, and it's hard to see where the seed comes out while you're going. It comes down this little tube here, and it drops it behind that little, there's a little V-shaped bracket there that actually kind of clears a path for it, and it drops it about every 9 inches, so it's not going to really match up with my tape, but I'll move things around if I have to, or I may put a couple of drip tape lines on one row. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and drop those. Basically, you pour, those are pinto beans. Pour the beans in there. That one's for fertilizer. I can tell you right now, that does not work very well. I'm not even using it. I tried it. No sense in even messing with it. But you just basically walk behind it, push it down the row. It'll drop the seeds. Then I gotta come back and cover it up. And tubers, at first glance, that looked like it did pretty good. These, one right there, one right there, one up there. We dropped them fairly regular. A few of them are broken, but sure a lot easier than doing that thing by hand like I did it last year. We'll finish them up. Give you a look-see. It is early Monday morning, I believe the 28th, and I wanted to give you a look at this before, well actually after the line of storms that came through Tennessee and Arkansas, and be praying for the families out there. So far 16 confirmed dead in that huge tornado that was out there. You can hear the thunder rumbling in the background. We're about to get hit with wave 2. I was wanting to see what the garden looked like, see if it washed out at all. It looks like it's okay. By running my rows this way, it kept me from washing out across here. Last year, I had the rows running this way, and I had a lot of wash coming through. Looks like it's running off the back into that creek back there, and that's what I kind of was hoping it would happen. So we're kind of happy with that. But anyway, this is what we look like on Monday the 28th, and it looks like everything's okay so far. God bless. Y'all go play in some dirt, and we'll see you next time. I hope you had a really good Easter holiday season this year. Take care.